Hi there, this is Beverly from Silverleaf Practice Management Solutions, and today I want to teach you how to spruce up your email messages in IntakeQ or PracticeQ. I'm going to show you how to do some stuff in Canva, and then kind of show you the ones that we have set up for this provider here, so that you kind of have an idea of what they can look like. So if you go to bookings, let me take you back to the original area, go to bookings and then booking settings. I'll do that real quick. Well, let me just go back to bookings and then booking settings. Now, if you go over here to the message area, this is where you can customize all the templates that go out to your patients. When you click on add email, you're going to come up with all these different categories. And I'm going to show you, we've done pretty much all of these. The only one I don't have on here is the telehealth reminder one, just because this provider is not quite ready to use the telehealth yet, so I don't have it activated. But when you activate Zoom, Google Meets, or IntakeQ's emails, you're going to get another reminder that pops in here. And it's kind of a little counterintuitive because you add those things kind of at the end, and then they pop up here, and then they pop up in your services for you to check. So when you implement one of those platforms, make sure that you come back here and check for the reminder for the telehealth. So we're going to go into the first one here. We'll just do this one time to book again one first. So if you go to edit, you're going to see the option to use the email for different types of services. So this one, we only want the system to send this email if it sees that the patient has not had an appointment within about 75 days of the last follow-up appointment. So you're saying use the email for these services. So we're going to do the 2 follow-ups. We're going to do it for all locations, all practitioners. So if you uncheck this, you see the option to do it per practitioner. You can also do it that way if they have their own customized emails that they want to send out. But for this email purpose, we're going to do it for all practitioners because we're just wanting the system to look for any visits that have happened in the last 75 days. And it actually looks forward to see if there's any appointments booked. If there's any appointments booked, it won't send it. So that's kind of a cool feature with IntakeQ. And you're going to hear me use IntakeQ, PracticeQ interchangeably here, just because I've used IntakeQ for a long time, and it's hard for me to get used to calling it PracticeQ. So when it comes to limit here, you don't want to limit this one because you want it to do it every time it meets this requirement. So every time the patient goes to that 75-day mark, if they don't have an appointment, send it again. So that's where the limits are here. You kind of have to think through these when you're building these emails. Then once you're ready you want to keep this inactive until you are completely done with it. Otherwise, it's just going to start sending out those emails while you're working on it, and that doesn't look cool. So we want to keep it inactive until you're ready. So this one's already active because I've went ahead and implemented it. So I'm just going to go ahead and recheck the active box. Your email subject can be whatever you want it to be. We chose, since this is a time to book again, we just said, we miss you. Please schedule an appointment. You could say, hey, it's been a long time since we've seen you. Please schedule an appointment. Whatever you want to put here, this is what the patient is going to see when it pops into their email box. And then we created this little picture to put here. One thing about images that you have to keep in mind, even though you may input the image here and it looks fine on your computer, it may look wonky on your phone. So down at the bottom, it says send me test email. Your email address should already be in your PracticeQ by the time you get to this point. Send yourself a test email and then check your email on your phone and just make sure it looks okay. Sometimes the spacing gets weird. Sometimes the picture gets kind of elongated, or it just doesn't look professional. So make sure you check it. If you have to come back here, tweak it, save it, send it again until you get it to where it looks good on your phone. But if they open up their email, it's going to look just like this on their email, so it makes it pretty easy to see. So I'll show you how to create a picture here in just a second, but this is kind of the text that we put in, and I'm going to show you the different functionality of inserting things and that kind of stuff as we go along as well. So we just put long time no see, and if you see this client first name, this is a placeholder or a field. They call it placeholder in some places, fields in others, but in this email, for this email purpose, it's in this add field area. So if you click on add field, you'll see different ones: appointment details, client name, so full name, client first name, price, practitioner name, booking page URL, form URL, account management URL. So the booking page URL, if you just put this in as a placeholder, it literally just shows the actual booking link. It doesn't look to me, very professional because it's just the actual link there. There's a cleaner way to put that in, and I'm going to show you here in a second. The form URL, so if you're sending this email and you want them to put a specific form in, then you would use that. And there is a place, like when you're sending a reminder for patients to do their new patient paperwork, you would want to enter the form there because you're telling them what form you want it to be filled out. And then appointment management URL, this takes them back to, I believe it's the patient portal where they can book their appointment there. But I refrain from using the booking page URL or the appointment management URL just because I don't like the way it looks when it actually comes over to an email. So those are the explanations here. And price, never use prices, but I guess you could in some of your emails if you want to tell people what the prices to certain things are. But I don't usually use those. And for this email, we're just putting in the client name, client first name. So we said, long time no see, client first name. It's been almost 3 months since we last saw you. If you don't have an appointment scheduled, please make one at your earliest convenience. If your provider has told you to follow up with them at a later time, please make that appointment now so that you don't forget. Sometimes our providers' calendars get booked out a month or longer, so it's better to go ahead and save your spot. It says you can make an appointment using the patient portal or by clicking here. And if you notice, we've made these little hyperlinks. Hope all is well, and then put the name of the practice there. And you could word this however you want to word it. I use a spell checker, or I use a software program called Grammarly, and I think it's free for, I don't know, the first few things you check or whatever. But Grammarly is a program that I use. Actually, it checks my emails, my posts, my Facebook post, all those things. For things like grammatical errors or punctuation errors, things like that. Sometimes, I know in college I got told that I like to sprinkle commas everywhere because that's just kind of the way that I talk. So that helps me keep my commas under control as well. So you use something like that just to spell check, make sure everything's grammatically okay. Some people pick that out if the grammar's not correct. So anyway, so put this in. And then when you click here, so if you'll click on my thing, it'll show you the link, but you can actually click edit. Now this is the actual portal link. So if you have, there's 2 links to the patient portal, and I'll show you where to get those here in just a second. But it depends on the email that you are sending the patient. So if you're inviting them to the portal, then you need a different link. If you're telling them to go to the portal and sign in, that's a different link, and I'll show you where those are. But you're going to put your text here of whatever you want that link, that little hyperlink to show. So I could change this actually to a capital P if I wanted, and say, capital P here, capital P there, and click save. Now I've changed it to capital P. Now to insert these links, so my link was already there, right? But if you're wanting to insert your link, you come up here to the little link option, and you click link, insert link. Same thing I just showed you. You would paste the URL here of wherever you're wanting that link to go, and then whatever text you want it to say. Book appointment here, book an appointment, whatever you want the text to say there, and click insert. And then you're going to end up with this little hyperlink. And to edit it at some point, if you need to edit something, you just click on it, come to edit, and redo it. Unlinking actually removes the whole link altogether. So you don't want to do that if you've already set it up, unless you set it up in error and you just want to take it out. You can do that. The other one here, I said org by clicking here. So this is going to take them to the patient portal, and this is going to take them to the booking widget. So you can see how I click that. It takes them to the actual booking widget where the patient can book another appointment. Or the portal, we'll go ahead and click on that so you can see what that looks like. And this just brings them to the patient portal login. So that's how you insert links in there and how you insert placeholders. To insert a picture, all you do is click the little image link, find the image on your computer, and pop it in. So you click choose files, find the picture, and the picture needs to be a JPEG or a PNG. So it's a JPG or a PNG file. That's what IntakeQ accepts. So make sure you use that. And you want to use a very clear, high-resolution picture. You don't want to go and screenshot stuff off the internet or off of websites and stuff, because that screenshot is not a very high-resolution picture, and sometimes it can get pixelated or fuzzy or just not really clear, and that doesn't look very professional either. So you just want to make sure that your pictures are very clear. And I'm going to show you how to create something like this using Canva, which is a super cheap and super easy program that you can get lost in hours for. So across the top here, if you know HTML code, you can actually put HTML code in here. I know a little bit, but I don't know enough to edit it, but if you click on it, it looks kind of wild. This is what makes up your little email there. And then you can set up the formatting, which I usually don't use. Bold, so anytime you want to bold something down here, maybe you want to bold this thing, this text, you can click bold. Maybe bold this text too, just so they stick out. So you can see how they stick out there. And then you can italicize things. That's what I did here with the Mountain Valley Mental Health, italicized. Strike through, I don't really think that you would need that in an email instance, but it's there. List, so if you wanted to put bullet point lists in your email, you could. We went over images. Tables, so you could insert a table. I really don't know where that would come into place for an email, unless you want to list prices out or something like that. But we usually cover tables in form building, but it's not something really that you would use in an email. But to play with it, it looks kind of like an Excel spreadsheet with the columns and the rows, and they do get a little hokey in intake cues, so I just don't put them in my emails at all. We talked about links. You can put lines in here, so maybe you want to put a line. Let's just put a line after this last thing here. See, I'll put that little fine line in there, just kind of notes the end of the email. You could do that if you wanted to. If you want to move it up, you could do that. If you want to delete it, you just click on it and then delete, and it'll take it out. So we're going to delete, see how that took it out. The next one is align. So pictures get a little tricky on aligning. You have to click right beside the picture. You don't click on it. You click right beside it, and you click align center, align left, wherever you want that picture at. I have it aligned center. Now, sometimes these will default. For some reason, it'll default back. So every once in a while, check your emails just to make sure they're looking correct. At some point, I'm probably going to dig into the HTML code and figure out how to hard code in the center. But for right now, it's working fine. But I have noticed sometimes I'll get one every once in a while, like, why did my picture go back to the left? So just keep an eye on them. Most of the time they work fine, but sometimes they get a little weird. Okay, next thing is color. So right here, anytime you put links in, they automatically become a blue color. But let's just say I wanted to put this Mountain Valley in a different color here. I could come up to text color, click text, and actually change the color of my font if I wanted to do that. I could also highlight this font. So maybe in your appointment reminder and you want to highlight your cancellation fee, you could come in here, you click the highlight button, and then the yellow to make sure it highlights. And then to reverse it, you just highlight it again using your cursor, and then change to, you can say highlight, none. I wish it stayed on there, but it doesn't. Text, black. So now you're back to the black color there. The next one is size. So this can change the size of your font in your email. Now it looks kind of small here, but if you think about putting this on a phone screen, it can look kind of big. If you get it too big here, you want people to be able to read it, but you don't want it so big that they're like, oh my gosh, the font on this is crazy. And I'm going to show you the example of it. Once I get this set up, I'll show you what that looks like on the phone. So that's size. And in the size, you kind of have to play with. It's not what you would normally think. So for example, you can't highlight this and look at the current size. It won't let you do that. So you kind of have to play around with the sizes. So you see how that's 12 is kind of small, 16 is about right, so we're going to leave it at 16. So that is how you set up your email. Once you've got it done, you make sure you check your settings and everything, because you make sure that you want these emails to go out appropriately. We would not want to send this time to book again to new patients. The reason why is because in 75 days, if the patient hasn't booked a follow-up, then it's going to send them the email. That may be okay. However, you may have patients that you told during that initial psych eval that there wasn't anything you could do for them, or what other reasons you could possibly come up with that they may not have an appointment with you in 3 months. So really, we just want to keep on track of the follow-up appointment. So that's why this has been set up. Now you could, in theory, set up another appointment or another email that says, I only want to do new patients. And if they haven't followed up with me in 30 days, then send them an email that says, hey, we haven't seen you via your follow-ups. You can see, as we go along, you're going to start thinking of all these different emails that you could possibly send out to patients. So that would be another example. This email I specifically only have going out to follow-up appointments. So now once you get done with your email, you're going to click Save, and it's going to take you back to your list here. We're going to go back into Edit, and we're actually going to send me a test email. See how it says operated completed successfully. So now I'm going to go to my phone, and hopefully this works the way I intend it to work. And I'm going to show you what that looks like on my phone. So I had to actually screenshot my phone and send it to my email, and it looks a little blurry here, but it's not blurry on my phone. But you can see how the font kind of goes between here. The picture doesn't look too crazy elongated. Sorry, it's not a very clear picture, but that's just kind of the way it came across to Google. But it does look appropriate on my phone, and here's the second one here. Just make that bigger. So there's the verbiage, and with the highlighted patient portal, hope all is well, and then the name there. So you can kind of just see that it fits in the format of the phone, and that's what we were trying to accomplish to do, even though it's not very clear on this example. It's very clear on my phone. So every time you build your email or your email reminder like that, you want to test it, send it to yourself, look at it, and make any necessary adjustments. So let's go through the list, and I'll show you each individual email. So this is a scheduled template. So we're going to go here. This is the one scheduled one we have going out. This is another one. So the first one we're going to look at is the patient's form reminder. So we want to tell the patient, this is a new patient forms reminder. So we're only going to send it for these 2 services. We're going to send it to all locations, all providers, and we want it to go out one day after the booking date. So one day after they book their appointment, we want them to get this email telling them to do all their paperwork. Now, you could make multiple of these. You could have one day after, you could do 2 days after, another one for 3 days, however you want to do it. But for this provider, we've just done the one day after the booking date. You can also change this to before the booking date, or you can say before the appointment date, so that you have the options here. For this one, we just did one day after the booking date. We're, again, no limit, because if this patient sees us once and then maybe in 2 years comes back and sees us again, we want them to get this again. We want them to get the email. We don't want it to stop. If we changed it to say no more than one per email per client, then it would only send the one, and that would be it. So we just want no limit on there. We want them to send them the patient intake form and consents. That's where our big intake form is, with all of the consents attached. And then once we're ready to make it active, we're going to make it active. I put this subject in here because I wanted patients to complete this ASAP to prevent cancellation. So I'm hoping, not everybody reads their emails, but we're hoping this is going to get their attention. And again, we've gone through all of the different things up here that you can use, and this is kind of the way our wording goes. Thank you for choosing us for your mental health needs. Since you're a new client, we have an intake form and several consents that we need completed and signed prior to seeing your provider. It is very important, and I bolded that you complete these forms ASAP or your appointment may be canceled. If you have any questions or concerns, please text us through the Spruce app, and this actually goes to this provider's Spruce account. So if the patient clicks that, they're taken to the Spruce login to download Spruce if they haven't already. And then I have the office number here. And just as if you need to cancel your appointment, please do so no later than 24 hours prior to your appointment to being charged new patient evaluation cancel fee of $125. Now, if I wanted to do another one for follow-up appointments, I could make it a follow-up here, and then maybe do something before the booking date or before the appointment date. If you were consistently sending out like maybe a combo GAD-7 PHQ-9 form or some other kind of questionnaire, you could prompt them to do that in here and make sure that you remind them what the cancellation fee is. You could do that. It says click this link for your forms and sign your consents. Now this is one of those fields, remember, the form URL. And what's going to happen is when they get this email, they're going to have a little box that says open form, I think is what this happens here. And right above it in the patient's email, they're going to have a little password to get into the form. So that's kind of how it links them together. It just tells them thank you for their prompt attention, and then the name of the provider. And then just this picture that we added in for, I feel like pictures get attention sometimes. So this is the picture that I added in. And again, I'm going to show you how to do some of this in Canva. Send yourself a test email, make sure it looks okay, which this has already been vetted and it looks fine. But that's one of these scheduled emails that goes out right before the patient's seen. Another scheduled email we have that goes out is the patient portal. So we want them to get it 3 days before the appointment date, because they could theoretically go into the patient portal and do all their consent forms and stuff. So we have that sent out to new patients. We send it 3 days before with no limit. We're not sending them a form because we don't need them to fill out a form. We have made this one active, so it just says join our patient portal. And if you'll notice, the spacing looks a little weird here. We put it up this close because when it renders on the phone via email, it does put a space in there automatically, so it doesn't look weird. And you can see how we put click here to join Spruce. Again, that takes them to the Spruce link. Click here to join the patient portal. We look forward to seeing you. So you can kind of get an idea of how you would start setting up these emails. There is a happy birthday email. We created that one just as we hope your day's amazing. Put a little picture in there. It's going to go automatically to them when their birthday happens. And it's funny, patients will email, go, thank you so much for remembering my birthday. You didn't. It was just the computer, but it makes the patients feel good, right? And I've seen other providers use this for a multitude of things. Like maybe you've got a bunch of resources you want them to have after you see them for their first visit. You could do that, put all those hyperlinks in an email to them. Journaling, you could remind them to journal. IntakeQ does have a feature for journaling. What else? I saw one provider on the happy birthday email, they put down at the bottom, like, hey, for a new year, start journaling. Decide to do meditation, pick something, a goal, and send them a little goal book. There's just a bunch of little things that you could attach in there, links and whatnot. There's endless opportunities for TED Talks and YouTube videos you may want them to watch on mental health, whatever those things may be that you want to give the patients. You can automate them in here. Now, you can't automate like on this specific day, but you can trigger off of the appointment type. So if you're thinking about a new patient appointment, when they have that new patient appointment, in 3 days, send them this. In 5 days, send them this. In 10 days, send them that. So you can continuously, and after follow-up visits, you could do that again. Follow-up visit, you could send just a one-off email. Hey, it's so great to see you. Please let us know if you have any issues. Whatever you want to communicate to the patient. I'm hoping that at some point they'll have the ability to really do a better email campaign in here. But for right now, this is kind of what we got. You can set up appointments or set up reminders for appointments missed. So this just says, hey, we hope everything's okay. We missed you. Again, this is something I created in Canva to be able to spruce up the emails. The forms reminder, we went over that. Appointment confirmation, appointment declined. On this one, it's just for new patients. It's a declination. Hey, unfortunately, your appointment's been declined. Our office screens clients. We're not a good fit. What you could make that say whatever you wanted to say there. Confirmation just tells them that their appointment's been confirmed. It welcomes them to the practice. Again, has a Spruce app telling them to download those things. And then we put this in. This was just one I found on Canva actually, and just kind of changed the wording here. So I didn't even have to create this. This was already in there as a template, and I just changed the wording, set up my own little fancy word things in here that I wanted to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things before their appointment. And let's see, the appointment reminder, just a reminder. Again, tell them about the portal and Spruce app, and just tell them to make sure to make every effort to make sure that their appointment is attended as scheduled. So this gives you a good idea on how to set up the email templates. And actually, the possibilities here are endless on these things. You can really think about them. In the SMS text, there's only a couple of types, and you can click on these and see them. You wouldn't be really necessarily sending pictures in here, but you could do scheduled SMS text. I don't usually set these up for providers, and the reason why is because if you set up too many, you could set up the 2 basic ones if you want to, but if you set up too many, then now I don't know if you have an Apple or an Android, but I know on the Apple, the last iOS, there's a little thing that pops up now that says report junk or delete. Was it just delete or report junk or something like that? If enough people report or anybody's IntakeQ, it just comes from IntakeQ. If they start reporting that as junk, then what's going to happen is these carriers are going to bounce those texts back. So I use the SMS text stuff very judiciously as far as reminders and time to book. Again, I would probably do the time to book again one if I was going to do any. But as far as the scheduled one, there's already emails or text messages that go out to remind them to do forms that you can set up. And those will be in a different video, but I just use this very sparingly. So those are your messages there. Now let's go over to Canva, and I'm just going to kind of show you Canva very quickly and how easy it is to set up a little just a little reminder thing in here. I've set these all to be Facebook post size so that you can see it's perfect size, and you may end up using it somewhere else, who knows. So if you come to the little search bar and you click Facebook post, it's going to come up here, the landscape, and see there's 2 options here, 940 by 788 or 1200 by 630 pixels. The pixels is what makes the resolution of the picture. So the 1200 times 630 pixels makes a really clear resolution for that image. So this is the one I normally use. So when you click on it, it's going to take you to all their templates. Now, you can, I mean, there's a bunch of them, guys. So you can see all these different templates. If you just want to steal somebody else's work, you could do that and just kind of make it yours, because you can edit their stuff. So let's just say, let me find one. Just trying to find one that might be appropriate. Let's just do this one, for example. So this is really cool, right? You didn't have to do any of this shading or anything like that. You just click customize this template and literally come in here and change the font. So if you want to change the font here, it's in Amsterdam 2 right now. We can play with all the different fonts that they have. So see, you can change the fonts there. Makes it super easy. And it does make some recommendations here just based on your graphic, which I think is kind of cool that it'll do that. So we're just going to leave it at hello. I don't really like that one. Let me go down to, there's one in here that I really like called apricot. No, I thought there was. It must be further down. There's some other ones. Sometimes they, so it comes up with a new list down here at the bottom. But I mean, you can literally scroll for days and look at all the different fonts that they have in here. Some of them are really cool. Some of them just don't read very well. So you just kind of have to you have to test them out. So you literally can change anything here just clicking on the little purple boxes. They make this pretty simple. You can change the color. So you come over here. It will even suggest colors for you based on your color palette here. So let's just say we want to make that brown. And look at it. Make sure it looks clear and clean. You can change any of the wording here. Maybe you want to say hello, welcome. And you can put your practice name here. These are made by a certain company, and you can just take their thing out because you're editing their stuff. To move it, you just hold your cursor down or your mouse down and move the thing around. See the little purple line to the center? That's a center. So it's letting you know if you're in center or not with the rest of the document or the rest of the little picture here. So see how that happened? If you don't like it, you can delete it altogether. If you delete something accidentally, you just click this little button up here, this little undo, and it'll bring it right back. But this is a pretty cool little thing, and you can, so the picture, maybe you don't like that picture back there and you want to find a different picture. Come over here to photos. And let's say we want to use this flower photo. Now, you can, if you right click on the photo and you say replace background, now it's changed the background and it's put that different picture in there. Now say we want to make this a little darker because it's kind of getting washed out right in the back. So we want to change the transparency, which is right here. And you can make it where it comes through a little bit more, or you can totally white it out, which I don't know why you'd white it out if you have the picture there. But you definitely kind of fade that picture in there. And that's how you make that transparency there. So there's a lot of things that you can do around playing with stuff. I'm going to go back down the left-hand side here and just show you the different design elements. You definitely want to name it something here so that you have it to ever come back to. But you can find stuff like, let's see, maybe you want to look at a specific design. You can look at other people's designs here, copy something off of them, and you don't have to work that hard. Elements, so these are like, if you want to put a little hand in here, make them point to something, you click here to schedule your appointment or something like that. You can see all the stickers. Bouncy stuff. Now test these in your emails with IntakeQ because I'm not sure if they would support the little video type things. They may not. So just text. I've never tried them, but it is definitely something that can add interest to your emails. But this is also useful, guys, if you're doing graphics for Facebook posting. You can look like a professional marketer coming in here and kind of just using other people's stuff and taking, taking parts and pieces off, changing colors, changing backgrounds, makes it super easy. I enjoy doing this, so it's fun for me. The other thing you have here is text. So you can add a heading, a subheading, and a little bit of text. This has probably been put in as a heading. Doesn't matter. You can make anything a heading in here, anything a subheading, just by adding in a text box. So if you want to add a text box, see how it just puts it in for you? You can change your text. You can change the size of your text or make it bigger. Drag it around. Change the colors. make it bold, italicized, center. You can put bullets in your thing. You can animate. We're not going to get into animate stuff because it's really not the context of this training or whatever. So let's go down here to projects. You can streamline your projects and put them into folders and things. I've just not really got that creative with the folders, but you can do that. Photos. So photos, gosh guys, there's endless photos in here. And I think if you pray for the updated version, the pro version, quote unquote pro, you can get so many pictures. And it'll tell you, like this one will tell you it's a pro picture. That's a pro picture. But there's a bunch of free ones here too. I think the pro is like $5.99 a month. It's not much. And if you're going to go in and create a whole bunch of stuff, you go in and create all that stuff and then go back down to the free version. Because you will have downloaded them to your computer, the ones that you wanted. So you can do that. You can create videos in here. Videos is a little different, outside this topic, but it is available in Canva. You can change backgrounds. So maybe you want the background to be this. See how easy that is? Come up with some really nifty stuff. That was really pretty. The next thing is you can embed stuff, which you really don't need to embed anything in the pictures on here. You can create your logo. So if you come into logo, we have our logo here. You can upload it if you have one created, and you just drag your logo over into your, see how it did that? It made it real big. You just keep moving it around and you can get it down to a smaller size and drop it and then make the picture smaller. So if you want to brand all your stuff that you're doing, that you're creating maybe for your Facebook post or whatever, you can do that there. And then the apps, I don't normally use the apps, but it connects to a bunch of apps. Once you create your little thing here that you want to put in your email, you're going to click share and you're going to download. And it's going to ask you, it's going to tell you that the PNG is suggested, use that, but you can do a JPEG if you want to. If you were doing videos, it would be a different saving, or if you were going to do like a print for a newsletter or something like that, it would be different. But for the context of creating the emails for IntakeQ, then we're just going to use the PNG file. Once you select it, you click download, and then it's going to save it to your computer. And wherever you choose to save it to, that's where you're going to go and get it and upload it into your email. So that's how you create stuff on Canva. Just play around with it. It's super easy to use. Even with no background in any kind of graphics design or anything like that, it makes it easy, guys. So if you come over to home, and you can create flyers, you can create documents, you can just blog posts, Instagram posts, logos. I don't really care for their logo setup, honestly. It's kind of plain, but I mean, it would work in a pinch. A presentation, so if you're wanting to do something other than PowerPoint, do a presentation in here, a video, do a resume, you can do a story. So you can see some of our designs that we've created here at Silverleaf. They're different reminders and things like that. We also create online graphics using Canva as well. So we're happy to help you. If you decide this is too much for me, I don't even know how to do this, we can definitely customize your emails for you if you want us to do that. It does come as part of our full setup. If you want us to set up your IntakeQ, we can do that as well. But I figured this would be an easy way for those of you guys that want to spruce things up. Maybe you already have your IntakeQ where you want it. You just really want to spruce up your emails a little bit and make them a little more fancy. You can definitely come to Canva and do that. And then just letting you know the different types of email in IntakeQ, and that's available PracticeQ to be able to set those up. So let us know if you have any issues. We do also offer help meetings, and you can go to our website here and you go to schedule an appointment. Sorry for the delay, it's a little slow sometimes when I am recording. When you come to our website here and go to schedule an appointment, you'll see all the different services that we offer here. The help meetings that I was telling you about are here. And you just come down to the help meeting for EHR, EMR, and you can pick a 30-minute meeting or a 60-minute meeting. And we'll basically walk you through any part of IntakeQ that you may need help with, whether that's a form building or setting up these emails or whatever the case may be. And we do offer full practice setup as well, and so you can contact us and we can talk about that. We do every other thing that you could possibly imagine for setting up a private practice or maintaining a private practice as well, as noted by all the different services that we offer. So feel free to reach out to us at any time if you need help with anything with your practice, and hopefully we'll talk soon. Take care. Bye-bye.